The wind howled like a grieving mother, tearing at the shutters of a small, weathered house perched on a cliff overlooking a churning sea. Inside, 16-year-old Mia clutched a crumpled letter, her heart pounding as she read the words that changed everything. "I'm not coming back, Mia. You're on your own now." Her father's handwriting blurred through her tears. Outside, the storm raged, mirroring the chaos in her soul. How does a girl rebuild her life when the only person she trusted abandons her? Stay with me, and let's uncover how Mia finds a light beyond the storm, a journey of loss, love, and unbreakable hope that will leave you believing in second chances. Mia stood frozen in the dim kitchen, the letter slipping from her fingers to the cracked linoleum floor. The storm outside rattled the windows, but it was the silence within the house that suffocated her. Her father, Tom, had been her anchor, gruff but dependable, a fisherman who smelled of salt and tobacco, whose calloused hands had once lifted her onto his shoulders to watch the sunrise. Now, at 16, she was alone in their small coastal town of Greyhaven, a place where the sea gave and took without mercy. She sank into a chair, memories flooding her. Tom hadn't been the same since her mother, Lila, died 4 years ago in a car accident. Grief had carved lines into his face, and he'd taken to the sea for longer stretches, leaving Mia with neighbors or her elderly aunt, Clara, who lived across town. But he always came back. Until now. The letter said he'd taken a job on a freighter bound for South America, chasing a life free of ghosts. "You're strong, Mia. Stronger than me. You'll be okay." The words felt like a betrayal. Mia wiped her face and forced herself to move. She had school tomorrow, a part-time job at the local diner, and bills piling up on the counter. The house, a rental, was paid through the month, but after that? She didn't know. Fear gnawed at her, but so did a stubborn spark of defiance. She wasn't going to crumble. Not yet. At school, Mia kept her head down, avoiding the pitying glances from classmates who'd heard whispers about her dad. Her best friend, Sam, a lanky boy with a crooked smile and a passion for fixing old radios, noticed her silence. "You okay, Mia?" he asked, catching her after class. She shrugged, not ready to share the letter. Sam didn't push, but his quiet presence was a comfort. That afternoon, at the diner, Mia spilled coffee on her apron, her hands shaky from lack of sleep. Her boss, Mrs. Carter, a no-nonsense woman with a soft spot for strays, pulled her aside. "You look like you're carrying the world, kid. Talk to me." Mia hesitated, then let it spill, the letter, her dad, the fear of losing the house. Mrs. Carter listened, her eyes kind but firm. "You're not alone, Mia. But you've got to decide what you're fighting for. This town, this life, it's yours if you want it." That night, Mia sat by her bedroom window, watching. The lighthouse beam cut through the fog. She made a vow, she'd fight to stay, to build a life, even if it meant doing it alone. The next week was a blur of survival. Mia took extra shifts at the diner, her hands raw from scrubbing dishes. She visited Aunt Clara, who offered her a spare room, but Mia refused. The house on the cliff was her home, her last tie to her parents. Losing it felt like losing them all over again. But the landlord, Mr. Grayson, was clear, rent was due in 3 weeks, or she'd be out. Sam became her shadow, showing up with sandwiches when she forgot to eat or dragging her to the beach to skip stones when her thoughts grew too heavy. One evening, he brought her to the community center, where the town was planning its annual Lighthouse Festival, a celebration of Greyhaven's history. Mia had always loved the festival, with its bonfires and music, but this year, it felt trivial. "Why'd you bring me here?" she asked, kicking at the sand. "Because you need to remember you're not alone," Sam said. He pointed to the townsfolk setting up booths, laughing and arguing. "These people know you. They care. Let them help." Mia scoffed, but deep down, his words stirred something. She joined the festival committee, partly to distract herself, partly because Sam's optimism was infectious. At the committee meeting, Mia met Elena, a retired teacher with a warm smile and a knack for organizing chaos. Elena had lost her husband years ago and understood grief's weight. She took Mia under her wing, teaching her to budget and negotiate with Mr. Grayson for an extra month's grace on the rent. "You're not just fighting for a house," Elena told her. "You're fighting for your future." Mia threw herself into the festival, designing posters and helping rebuild the lighthouse float. The work gave her purpose, and the townsfolk rallied around her. Mrs. Carter donated pies for the bake sale, and Sam's dad, a mechanic, offered to fix the diner's old delivery van so Mia could make extra cash delivering meals. Slowly, the weight on her chest lightened. She wasn't alone, she had Greyhaven. But challenges loomed. The festival was a week away, and a storm was forecast, threatening to cancel it. Worse, Mia's savings were still short for the rent. One night, exhausted and defeated, she sat on the cliff, staring at the sea. "Why'd you leave me, Dad?" she whispered. The wind carried no answers, but Sam found her there, his radio crackling with static. "You're not giving up, are you?" he asked. Mia shook her head, a fire rekindling. She'd fight for her home, storm or no storm. The festival day arrived under a sky heavy with clouds. Mia woke early, her stomach knotted with worry. The weather report predicted rain by noon, but the town pressed on, stringing lights and setting up tents. Mia worked tirelessly, hauling crates and hanging banners, her hands blistered but her resolve unshaken. The festival wasn't just about tradition, it was her chance to prove she belonged, to herself and to Greyhaven. By mid-morning, the first drops fell. The crowd thinned, and vendors grumbled. Mia's heart sank as she watched the bake sale table get soaked. Elena found her, rain dripping off her hat. "Storms pass, Mia. Keep going." Inspired, Mia rallied the volunteers, moving booths under awnings and turning the community center into a makeshift stage. Sam rigged his radio to play music through borrowed speakers, and the festival found new life indoors. As the day wore on, Mia noticed strangers pitching in, tourists stranded by the storm, drawn by the town's warmth. One, a photographer named Daniel, took pictures of the event, promising to share them online to draw visitors next year. Mia felt a surge of pride. Greyhaven wasn't perfect, but it was hers. That night, the storm worsened, and Mia returned home to find a leak in the roof. Water pooled on the kitchen floor, soaking her father's old fishing boots. She sank to her knees, overwhelmed. Sam arrived, unasked, with a tarp and a ladder. Together, they patched the roof in the rain, laughing through chattering teeth. "You're crazy," Mia said, grateful. "Takes one to know one," Sam replied. The festival raised enough money to cover half the rent, and Mr. Grayson, moved by Mia's efforts, agreed to a payment plan. It wasn't a perfect victory, but it was a start. Mia realized the real win was the community she'd found, people who saw her, not as a girl abandoned, but as a fighter. Weeks later, the house was still hers, though the struggle wasn't over. Mia stood on the cliff, the sea calmer now, the lighthouse beamed steady in the dusk. She held a new letter, not from her father, but one she'd written to herself. "You are enough," it read. "You are home." She tucked it into her pocket, a promise to keep going. Sam joined her, his radio silent for once. "Proud of you," he said simply. Mia smiled, her heart lighter than it had been in months. She'd lost her father, but she'd gained a family in Greyhaven, Mrs. Carter's tough love, Elena's wisdom, Sam's loyalty. The town had wrapped her in its arms, and she'd found strength she didn't know she had. The festival photos went viral, drawing visitors to Greyhaven and boosting the diner's business. Mia took on more responsibilities, saving for college, dreaming of studying marine biology to honor the sea that shaped her. Her father's absence still ached, but it no longer defined her. She was building a life, one choice at a time. As the lighthouse beam sweeps across the sea, Mia stands tall, no longer the girl broken by a letter, but a young woman forged by storms. Her story isn't just about survival, it's about finding light in the darkest moments, about discovering that home isn't a place, but the people who choose you. So, what's your storm? And who's your lighthouse? Keep fighting, keep shining, because like Mia, you're never as alone as you think. Let her story inspire you to find your own light beyond the storm.